Yes, now. This ramblings, the story is about something quite beautiful actually, and how conservation is achieved through people's connection to the land. I've seen this in sort of differing forms around the Pacific, but I think it first really caught my attention in Ponape, one of the 4 islands in the federated states of Micronesia. During my time here, I had the opportunity and fortune to speak to all manner of organisations, from community NGOs all the way up to intergovernmental organisations. And there was one topic that stayed pretty constant throughout all of these, and this was that predominantly society runs in parallel with nature. Yes, there is biodiversity conservation, but really the onus is on protecting the natural resources and the sustainable use of these natural resources in order to conserve the livelihoods of the people that live here. And that means that you're protecting the forest from deforestation from the lucrative cacao trade, you're protecting the water catchments from pollution and sedimentation, which destroys the water quality and smothers the coral reefs, and then the coral reefs themselves, their health and also the health of the fish which live on side them. And then you can take all this back to the human element, and you have water security, food security, and in a conversation with May Adams, she outlined how we can have economic security as well, and that a sustainable resource base is a perfect thing on which to attract investment. Quite a lot of the places I've visited so far have been relatively different from this. Big industrialised countries where not many people still carry that connection to the land. I know for certain living in the UK I was so far removed, and have a think about how far removed you may be as well. And this means that the services nature provide aren't always a conscious part of our everyday life. And this can mean that conservation is quite often seen as it's for the wildlife, protecting them from our actions. But here, as I said, it's something quite different, and it's about sustainably managing the natural resources so people don't go and exploit the forest or overfish, but instead have the chance to live a healthy, fulfilling and prosperous life. And this is something that we should probably take and realise about our everyday life as well, that we do depend on it even though we may not be consciously aware. One of my favourite days on the island was when I was invited to take part in a village feast, an annual festivity which brings people together to celebrate the harvest of yam, presenting it to the chiefs, and the chiefs sort of thank them and give permission for everyone to enjoy. Everything's brought out, food from fruit to fish and everything, all shared within the community. It's an amazing day of shouting, singing, dancing, laughing, chatting, drinking and chewing. A real celebration of cultural heritage, and it's beautiful to see. And also it can be used as a platform for conservation as well, with the chiefs saying, you know what, no, I don't want to be presented with this fish is banned, its population is too under pressure. And this is especially the case with the bumphead parrotfish and the Napoleon wrasse, which the conservation organisations recently brought alarm to. And I guess what this illustrates is how tight-knit community structures like this still are in the world, and how an incredible bond to the natural world still remains in some places. And that is in complete contrast to a lot of the world, which will require a complete cultural shift for conservation, re-establishing our connection to the natural world and our obligation to live sustainably alongside it. It's just not really the case in places like Ponape. And these places and communities and countries like this can really be used to lead at the forefront of environmental innovation, setting the benchmarks on where the rest of the world needs to be. And their community and indigenous knowledge can be used to really substantiate that scientific methods that we have. Because at the end of the day, a shift is needed. Some may even call it human adaptation, but some people, they may not need to adapt. Ramblings out. And to keep up to date with everything, make sure you give all of these a follow.